Welcome back to Your Faith is Your Fortune by Neville Goddard, broken down by Rob. I'm very happy that you're still here and you are still joining me on this journey. And this chapter is where the rubber starts to hit the road. It's a long chapter, and I've been putting off doing it because I thought I'd have to make one long video, and I decided to divide this up. So it could be two chapters or two videos, maybe three, but at least two. And so in this video, I'm going to break down chapter 3, which is the principle of truth, and I'm going to divide that into part 1, the elevated consciousness. The truth that sets man free is the knowledge that his consciousness is the resurrection and the life. That his consciousness both resurrects and makes alive all that he is conscious of being. There's that verse, I don't know if I didn't put it in here or if Neville didn't, but Jesus says in John 8, I believe, that you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free, set you free. It isn't truth that sets you free, it's truth that you know. And I don't believe that is in fact, I think very much it's not simply a list of facts to mentally agree with. It is truth that you experience. When you know truth like that, like Adam knew Eve and she conceived and bore a son, when you know this truth, it produces things. And the truth, as he's saying it, is not some historical facts about historical figures who did historical acts in time and space. The truth is the knowledge and the experiential knowledge that his consciousness is the resurrection and the life. Apart from consciousness, Neville says, there is neither resurrection nor life. When man gives up his belief in a God apart from himself and begins to recognize his awareness of being to be God, as did Jesus and the prophets, he will transform his world with the realization, I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. Again, my old Protestant evangelical mind would see me taking on that phrase, I and my Father are one, with a like if I try that phrase on, I and my Father are one, I can't. Like, so much of me says, no, he is holy, he is separate. And yet I also think of the high priestly prayer in John chapter 17, where Jesus says, I and you and me and us and them and all this. Like there's this oneness thing going on in John 17 when he's like, hey, look, I want them to be one in me, you and me. Just as I am in you, they are in us. Like all of this language. And another thing that comes to mind is in Hebrews, I believe it is, where the author says that he, Jesus, is not ashamed to call us brothers. And here's the thing, if we are the brothers of Jesus, we are the sons of God. We are the son of God. It's not blasphemous for me to say I am a son of God. And if I have to really feel it, it makes it even crazier if I say I am the son of God. I don't mean I am Jesus, a historical figure who lived, X amount of years ago. I mean I am the son of God. Any more than I would say I am the son of my father, even though I do have a brother. I am the son. I wouldn't say, well, I am a son. Don't rush to identify, with being the son, as if you're the only son and the one and only. But we are the Son of God. But the Father is greater than I. And I think Jesus understood that. He's written to have understood that. And That seems to be the case that Neville is arguing for. Neville goes on, he will know that his consciousness is God. Again, he will know, not agree to, but know by experience, the same way that you knew when you first tasted sugar, you knew when you first smelled a rose, what a rose smelled like. To use a little more risky analogy here, it's like people who say, well, how do you know when you've had an orgasm? It's like, you know when you've had it. So in that sense, he will know beyond any shadow of a doubt that his consciousness is God, and that which he is conscious of being is the Son bearing witness of God the Father. I wanted to bring that back from my last one. I just don't have the quote up. I'm trying to put the quotes up here. But anyway, I am, the Son bearing witness to the Father here is, pull up my little dot thing here. Here is, you try it this way. So this right over here, this is the Son, Rob, bearing witness or giving an exact mirrored representation of the awareness of the Father. So the Son, as a child, is the image of the Father. So are we. That's what it means to be a child of God, a son of God, a daughter of God. In this case, we're talking about son, but whatever. It works in all genders and whatnot. But I am is the Father, Rob is the Son. And whatever the Father imagines himself to be, that is who I am. And so while I am on this earth for 80 to 100 years or whatever it is, however long I'll be here, and I have no idea how long it'll be, I am the Son of God. The conceiver and the conception are one, but the conceiver is greater than his conception. Before Abraham was, I am. Yes, I was aware of being before I became aware of being man. And in that day, when I shall cease to be conscious of being man, I shall still be conscious of being. It makes me think about how dreams work. I take on the consciousness of whoever I am in the dream world, and when I leave the dream world, I'm still conscious. I'm still somebody. I can feel myself actually, like when I meditate, if you've ever done this, when I meditate, I can actually start to feel like the boundaries of my identity starting to dissolve. Or it's the same way when you start to fall asleep. You begin to lose your connection. How many times have you taken a nap, and when you wake up, you don't even remember where you are? Like you're conscious, but your eyes are closed, and you hear sounds, you feel certain things in your bed or wherever you're lying down, and you come back, and you're I don't know where I am. It's because you've forgotten. You forgot who you were for a short period of time, and then you come back and remember. And at least metaphysically or existentially, Neville's arguing here that just as the person I am in a dream is a representation of me, I am greater than the thing that I dream. The conceiver is greater than his conception. The art is less than or a derivative of the artist. A song is not as great as the artist who makes it. The consciousness of being is not dependent upon being anything. That's right, it's the other way around, isn't it? The art is dependent on the artist, but the artist is not dependent on anything. The video game character is dependent upon the user, the player. whereas the player is not dependent upon anything. It preceded all conceptions of itself, and shall be when all conceptions of itself shall cease to be. I am the beginning and the end. That is, all things or conceptions of myself begin and end in me, but I, the formless awareness, remain forever. Jesus discovered this glorious truth and declared himself to be one with God, not the God that man had fashioned, for he never recognized such a God. You know, the people of in the Gospels, you have these people who are looking for this conquering, messianic figure to come and set them free in the world of Caesar from the Roman rule and all this, and in their minds there was this historical God who promised to send this Savior who would literally come and in their world, set up this warring, conquering kingdom thing. And Jesus is talking on a totally different level with these people. And so when he says, I am God, in their minds they think, whoa, how can you be, the external God that we have imagined, who did all these things and all this? How can you be that particular person that in our own minds we imagine is ruling and reigning, even though we've never seen him? How in the world can you claim to be him? And, it helps, at least as I read more of the scriptures, to understand that Jesus was never claiming to be their understanding of God. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more there that I could get into, but I'll skip there. Jesus found God to be his awareness of being, and so told man that the kingdom of God and heaven were within. I wanted to actually pull out that reference from Luke. Nor will they say, look, here it is, or there. For behold, the kingdom of God is in the midst of you, or within you. It's your awareness. And they will say to you, look there, or look here, but don't go out or follow them. You don't have to find God out there. Be still and know that I am God. And again, what we talked about last time, it's not Rob is God. The awareness that is aware of being Rob is God. Neville goes on, when it is recorded that Jesus left the world and went to his Father, it is simply stating that he turned his attention from the world of the senses and rose in consciousness to that level which he desired to express. So the ascension of Jesus is not a historical event that we try to prove or not prove. Rather, it's a metaphor, it's a parable of what happens when, like in John, 14, is one of the first Bible verses I ever memorized. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also. So when you think of the story where Jesus ascends and then is going to be coming back, that rising, that raising is a metaphor for when we turn our attention from the world of the senses, five sensory data, I've heard it called, by Joseph Rodriguez. And we center our attention and our consciousness to the level that we desire to express. We find that desire and we clothe it, we make it real in our imagination. So there he, Jesus, remained until he became one with the consciousness to which he ascended. When he returned to the world of man, he could act with the positive assurance of that which he was conscious of being, a state of consciousness no one but himself felt or knew that he possessed. Man, who is ignorant of this everlasting law of expression, looks upon such happenings as miracles. To rise in consciousness to the level of the thing desired, and to remain there until such level becomes your nature, is the way of all seeming miracles. And if I be lifted up, I shall draw all men unto me. John 12:32. If I be lifted up in consciousness to the naturalness of the thing desired, I shall draw the manifestation of that desire to me. And this is the key sentence from this chapter. This is the word of the day. Woo! Everybody get excited. What I found in this one, I want to break this sentence down. So, if I be lifted up in consciousness to the naturalness of the thing desired, I shall draw the manifestation of that desire to me. So I thought, how could I illustrate this? What came to my mind was a line. Below the line, everything there is reality. The world of five sensory data. The world we can interact with through touch, through sight, through smell, through taste, and through hearing. We perceive this world using that five sensory data. Everything above the line is imagination. Because right now, I can say, imagine a gecko that is purple with banana patterns all over its body, and it's holding in its hand a Long Island iced tea with a tiny sunburst orange umbrella. And he's going, in your mind, that's real in your mind. I mean, you can imagine that. That actually comes to your mind as I say it, even though in your world you've never experienced it. So there's the world of imagination. Now in the world of reality, are we saying we can bring that into this world? I'm not going to argue for that right now, although there is that phrase, with God all things are possible. But I think there are some rules that are set in place in this game that we're playing in this reality that we have to begin with what can actually feel real. I can't imagine being, in my imagination, being a woman living in 7th century Croatia, and then wake up tomorrow morning and feel that, because I felt that to be true. I think there are some limits that are put on here in this reality. But then again, I don't know how far we can take this. But here's Neville. Let's go ahead and talk about this statement here. If I be lifted up in consciousness. So we have this lifting up. Go ahead and use my handy dandy thing here. Gross. Let's get out of there. Here we go. This thing here is this process is lifting up our consciousness into the realm of the imagination. So it's something that's not existing in reality. If I be lifted up in consciousness to the naturalness, so this thing up here, whatever it is, has to feel natural. So it's my desire, and I want that. When it feels natural, I will draw and pull down this consciousness into reality. Let me get rid of this stuff. So let's say you have a belief about yourself and in your world that you've seen, I am not valuable. And I think that's a running program that I've had running around in my head. Even I might say, of course, I don't believe that, but I think my world has kind of shown me that, and I have to really be honest with myself that I think that process is running. That I'm not valuable. I don't have things of value to offer people. That's a thing that I'm conscious of. And if I do raise my consciousness to I am valuable, then I will experience in my world the new reality of I am valuable. And again, the question is, well, how do we, there's like this interim, this time frame of being able to hold on to the statement of I am valuable even when in my world I'm not seeing it. This, to me, is again the secret of faith, if not perhaps the secret of life, of adopting the consciousness of what my desire is so that my world begins to orient itself towards the fulfillment of that desire. Whew. No man comes unto me, save the Father within me draws him, and I and my Father are one. My consciousness is the Father who draws the manifestation of life to me. The nature of the manifestation is determined by the state of consciousness in which I dwell. I am always drawing into my world that which I am conscious of being. Manifestation, a quick take on the word manifestation if you're new to that sort of term, that simply means being brought to light, something brought to light. So it's like let there be light and there was light. That's a manifestation. And if I sow, for example, if I sow grass seed in my yard outside, I should expect that what will come to light is grass. What will come to the light is grass. If I sow daikon radishes, I will get daikon radishes. If I sow basil, I will get basil. But I'm always drawing into my world that which I'm conscious of being. So my consciousness really is the seed that continually sprouts in my world and is coming to light. So can I change what I'm conscious of being? That's what I really want to understand. And how? So he says here, if you are dissatisfied with your present expression of life, and I have to say while there are many things that I am very grateful for, there are things in my life that I am dissatisfied with. So Neville says, then you must be born again. John 3, verse 7. Rebirth is the dropping of that level with which you are dissatisfied and rising to that level of consciousness which you desire to express and possess. You cannot serve two masters or opposing states of consciousness at the same time. It doesn't matter how much I might want to have a change of my consciousness. If I don't change my consciousness to this new reality, this new I am, if it doesn't feel natural to me, I will never achieve it. I'm simply not going to. Taking your attention from one state and placing it upon the other, you die to the one from which you've taken it, and you live and express the one with which you are united. God, that reminds me, it just came to mind. That verse from Colossians or Ephesians. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. Whew. Never thought of it like that. Man cannot see how it would be possible to express that which he desires to be by so simple a law as acquiring the consciousness of the thing desired. Yeah, you can say that again. Definitely. How is it possible? I thought it takes all this hard work. I thought it takes hustle and grinding and like just getting out there and working 24/7, man, and giving it 110% all the time. And where there's a will, there's a way. And blah. Of course, man can't see how it would be possible to express that which he desires to be by so simple an action, a law, a reality as acquiring the consciousness of the thing desired. The reason for this lack of faith on the part of man is that he looks at the desired state through the consciousness of his present limitations. Therefore, he naturally sees it as impossible of accomplishment. If you remember from my a couple videos ago where I had the I am and then a little dotted line around it, that dotted line, it's like a filter that we feel stuck in, and I can't feel anything outside of that. How do I transcend that and feel as natural what's beyond it? Because if I can't, then obviously it's going to feel impossible. One of the first things man must realize is that it is impossible in dealing with this spiritual law of consciousness to put new wine into old bottles or new patches on old garments. So if I'm understanding properly, that's like, let me pull back. Can I pull back? I'll just, where was it? Yeah, this thing. Okay, it is this I am valuable up here at the top. I can't bring that down. No. Let's do this really specifically. I cannot, it is impossible for me to bring this down into here. That's impossible. That's putting new wine. I am valuable is the new wine, and I am not valuable. It's the old reality. This thing here, dot or whatever I had for my illustration. That is putting new wine into old wineskins. It's going to burst. It's going to pop. It can't hold it. So if I can clear all this nastiness off of here. But what can I do? Can I take my awareness and leave here and move my awareness here? That's a new wineskin. That is the new wineskin. This is new wine in a new wineskin. I don't know fully how it all works with this stuff, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm going to move forward. We're just about done here. Thanks for your patience. Yeah. One of the first things man must realize is that it is impossible in dealing with the spiritual law of consciousness to put new wine into old bottles or new patches on old garments. And those verses, read those if you want to. Matthew 9, 16 and 17, Mark 2, 21 and 22, and Luke 5, 36 and 39. I find it interesting that that's such a key idea that it's in all of the synoptic gospels here. These all kind of give a similar viewpoint. It seems like it's a pretty darn important thing. That is, you cannot take any part of the present consciousness into the new state, for the state sought is complete in itself and needs no patching. Every level of consciousness automatically expresses itself. If you can leave the old consciousness, if you can assume the new consciousness, it will unfold in your life seamless. To rise to the level of any state is to automatically become that state in expression. But in order to rise to the level that you are not now expressing, you must completely drop the consciousness with which you are now identified. Until your present consciousness is dropped, you will not be able to rise to another level. So my question now, as I'm reading this, is like, that's not good news to me. This doesn't make me feel very happy. You must completely drop the consciousness with which you are now identified. How do I drop the consciousness of all of the ways people have rejected me in my life or hurt me or wounded me? How do I drop that consciousness? I can't just forget that. That stuff, doesn't it carry trauma? Don't you have memories and like PTSD or CPTSD and all this stuff? Don't I carry that with me? Isn't that a part of my identity? How in the world can I feel as natural that people love working with me? I am valuable. The service that I offer others is gratefully received and well compensated and allows me to live the life that I would like to live for me and my children and in my community, and as a valuable member of society. How do I drop my old identity when I've tried all these things of affirmations or, even if I try to do an imaginal act or something, it's like, again, everything feels leaky somehow. So somehow, until my present consciousness is dropped, I will not be able to rise to another level. So I need to learn what this means. How is my present consciousness dropped? And in so doing, that will enable me, according to Neville, to rise to another level. Now I'm going to end this with a cliffhanger because that is, I feel like, the question that I need to really stop and ponder for just a minute. Even if I make a new video tomorrow or whatever, I'm stopping at this point to ponder that statement. Am I ready to leave behind all of my resentments, defense mechanisms? Do I have to do an inventory of it all? Kind of like a 12-step program or whatever. Do I have to figure out all these things I'm leaving behind? And spoiler alert, I've read the rest of the chapter. It's not that difficult. But this is, when I'm thinking about it, is I do have to hit a level of commitment that, I'm ready to drop this conscious. I'm ready to surrender it. It hasn't served me, this level of consciousness. And I would like to learn, Neville, can you teach me how to drop my present state of consciousness and enter in to that new level of consciousness where it feels natural, not unnatural or unreal, but it feels real, so that it will be made manifest in my life. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for joining me on my journey. Please, it does help broaden the influence of my channel with a like. All it takes is a simple tap on your screen if you like my video. And please do it only if you like the video. No, I'm not fishing for insincere likes or whatever. And subscribing also helps a big deal for me. So if you're willing to do that, I appreciate it. And if this isn't for you, that's totally fine too. I'm on this journey and I'm going to keep going. And I hope to see you in the next video.